There we go.
Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Fly Tying Tuesdays here with Carlisle Fly and Foul. Today we're tying another Klinkhammer style fly, but this is called the Purple Hammer. So this is just a variation of the Klinkhammer that I've kind of come up with. But yeah, so if you guys haven't checked out the Klinkhammer video yet, link will be here in the description, so check that out. We're going to tie this pretty similar, but there are going to be a few differences here, but we're going to show you guys how to do this and dive on in it. So starting off with a Saluda Beads Caddis Scud hook in size 16, and you can see I've kind of got the hook positioned in a kind of a funky way here in the vise, but this is more or less just so that way we can get the bottom of the fly tied up. And then we'll readjust the hook, make it a little bit easier for us to finish the fly. So I'm just going to start our thread there. And on this fly, I'm just using a 30 denier GSP or nano silk from Simplify, and this is in black, but you can kind of use whatever it is that you like. Yeah. So the first material that we're going to tie in is some mirror tinsel in purple. And this is going to be the rib of the fly. Next thing we're going to tie in is just a piece of tippet, and this is about, I don't know, I'd say about 6 inches or so. And this is just going to help for durability with that ribbing. The tinsel is very, very fragile, so we're going to have to counter wrap that with this tippet, kind of add some durability to this fly. Trim that excess. Okay, now we're going to dub the body, and I've just got some fully mill tactical micro flash dub in UV violet. This stuff is just really great. I love the color on it. It's flashy, and it just looks really good. So, but yeah, so we're gonna dub a noodle here, and you don't want it to be very thick. You know, just kind of a slender dubbing noodle. And we're gonna start working our way up the fly here. Sometimes this ice dub can be a little bit tricky. Start dubbing that up the body here. And we can adjust our hook, make it a little bit easier on these next few steps. And it looks like I'm going to have to add a little bit more dubbing. Bring your dubbing about an eye length away from the back of the hook eye. Alright, so now that we've got our dubbing up the body here, we're going to take a second and start ribbing the fly here. You got to be super careful not to drag this tinsel across that hook point, because it will break that tinsel, and then you will be starting the fly over. Ask me how I know. It happens quite a bit if you're not careful. we can just tie this off. And snip the excess. And now we're going to counter wrap that ribbed body with this tippet here. So to do that, you got to go the opposite way of what you just went. And this doesn't take a whole lot. You just really just trying to add some durability to the fly, so you know the fish teeth don't mess it up. So because that tinsel will break very, very easily. I'm just gonna add a little bit of durability to the fly here. Snip that off, and the next thing that we're going to tie in is some polypro yarn, and this is in white. So you just need one hank of this, and we're going to do a couple pinch wraps here to secure it to the top of the hook. A few more, and then lift that up, and we're going to build up a little bit of a thread dam right in front of that. And this is going to be our post. So we're going to do wrap around the shank behind it, 2 wraps behind it, and then we're going to start with some loose wraps around the base of this post, and then we're going to start working our way up and tightening at the same time. You don't want to put too much pressure on this because it will mess up. So and every once in a while just do a couple of turns around the shank. That's going to save you work. So that way if you do blow your thread off of the post, because it will happen just like that, it doesn't do the whole thing and it doesn't unravel the entire thing, and you'd have to start over from scratch. So you kind of work your way up the post and back down, then a couple turns around the shank, and we're going to keep going on up some more. Then work our way back down, a couple turns around the shank itself. Now the next thing that we're going to tie in is our hackle, and this is just some grizzly hackle, and I have trimmed off of some of the stem, and then even some more on the other side, on the right side of that hackle. So that's just going to kind of help us orient it correctly when we go to tie it in. So just 1-2 wraps there, and then we're going to start tying it and attaching it to our post. Just work your way up. And then we're going to come back down and then do 2 wraps around the hook shank to save our work. We're going to trim some of this, trim that stem off close. Now we're going to come in with some gray eye stub for the thorax of this fly and around the base of the post here, just to kind of clean things up. And I like to do gray, but I also like to have a little bit more flash too here on the thorax. So we're just going to do, you know, a couple wraps around each side, just like any other parachute fly, and then we're going to end with our tying thread on the near side of the hook in front of the post, and we can begin wrapping our hackle and just doing touching turns all the way down. And I like to do about 6 or 7 turns on these Klinkhammer style flies. Just really good flotation on it. Yeah, so just 2 turns around the base of the post, and we're going to come in close and trim that hackle off. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of trimming on this post, and I'm going to definitely cut more off of that here in just a minute, but more or less I'm just trying to get some of that post out of the way so I can do a 4 or 5 turn whip finish here, just right around the base of this post. And don't worry too much about trapping fibers, because you will trap some. It's not going to be that big of a deal, but just trying to keep it low around the base of that post. And now we're going to come back in and trim this up a little bit more. And we can come in and trim some of these. See, I did get some of these fibers when I tied that stem off. So it's not that big of a deal. We just cut those off of there. And there you have it. That is the purple hammer. That's just a really cool variation of the Klinkhammer style dry fly or merger. But yeah, so you guys toss some of these up. Let me know how it works out for you. Drop me a comment below and let me know what you guys want to see me tie next, and we'll see if we can make it happen. But I appreciate you guys watching, and remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.